Sawadika tukon. Chan dijai tijai pop kunai kuni. Chan wangwa kun kong ja sanuk naka. Many of you are probably confused right now. You're wondering how to react, not sure where I'm going with this. Probably hoping I'm not going to spend the next 10 minutes speaking badly in a foreign language. All I can say is, welcome to my world. At least it was my world in 2005 when I moved to Bangkok. I had been working for a government department in Fiji and they advertised a job in Bangkok. Bangkok, I thought. Isn't that Thailand, I thought? I think I will apply for that. Now, I wonder how many life-altering decisions have been made because it seemed like a good idea at the time. So I looked into the living environment and the work conditions, packed up my life in Fiji, and moved to Bangkok. To this day, it still amazes me that somebody as educated and intelligent as I completely missed one important factor: language. In all my deliberations about moving to Bangkok, I never once considered the language, which is how I found myself on my first day at the reception of the Chateau de Bangkok Hotel on Soi Ruamrudi, listening to a man give me directions to my new place of work and not understanding one single thing. And I thought to myself, I am totally screwed. Welcome to my world. So to give you an idea of what my life was like during this time, I'm going to take you through 3 lessons that I learned living in a country where I did not speak the language. Lesson 1. They say patience is a virtue, but not only is it a virtue, it is often the fine line between the inside of a jail cell or not. That first day in Bangkok, when I didn't understand the directions that had been given to me, I pulled out a paper map and headed off down the street. I walked for almost an hour in the Bangkok heat before I got to my new office. Had I understood Thai, I might have realised the office was 10 minutes away if you cut through the shopping centre car park. There were a lot of experiences like that in the beginning. One day after work, I thought I was going to have a complete nervous breakdown in the supermarket trying to buy sugar. I didn't recognise the packaging, I couldn't read the words, and all I could do was ask around random strangers until I found one that spoke enough English to help me out. Patience is also related to the ability to stay calm under less than ideal circumstances that happen quite regularly when you live in a new environment. The first time I did washing in my new apartment, about 2 weeks after I arrived, the washing machine caught fire. Okay, so what do you do in the event of a fire? Get the fire extinguisher, which was a great idea until I found it was bolted to the wall so nobody stole it. Okay, I'll call the fire brigade. The fact that I'd helpfully been given a fridge magnet with all the emergency numbers in Thailand didn't help when I rang the fire brigade and found that they don't speak English. I thought about going downstairs to the apartment security guard, but living on the 29th floor with the slowest elevator in history, I didn't embrace that idea. The safety professional that I am today still cringes every time I think about putting out an electrical fire with water. Welcome to my world. I used to joke with people when they came on holiday to Thailand and said how much they'd love to live there, that they should try dealing with the police, opening a bank account, dealing with Thai immigration, and then would see if they had the required level of patience. Lesson 2. Being embarrassed is going to be your new norm. You better get used to it. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines embarrassed as a state of self-conscious confusion or distress. Self-conscious confusion. In my first few weeks in Bangkok, I went to Carrefour, the Thai equivalent of Kmart. Getting into a taxi at the end with all my purchases, I had a conversation with the taxi driver. Sukhumvit soy 10? Soy sip, he asked. No, soy 10. Soy sip. No, soy 10. This went on for a while and finally he did manage to get me where I wanted to go. I didn't know at the time that sip in Thai is 10. My embarrassment didn't get any better with time. I'd been working in Bangkok for about 6 months when there was political unrest with the then Prime Minister, Thaksin Shinawatra. During general office conversation, one of my colleagues started talking about Thaksin and the erection. Couldn't be, it's election. You really need an L sound. So she tries the word election a couple of times and then looks at me and says, okay, so what does erection mean? There are no words to describe the horror I felt at that moment. But I thought we were all adult ladies, and if I asked that question, I'd want somebody to answer me honestly. So I explained erection as politely and factually as I could. That then turned into a half-hour English lesson on all those words you wanted to know about but were afraid to ask. I got a little bit better with being embarrassed when my Thai colleagues would laugh at my language attempts and say, oh, it's cute how you try to say that. By the time I left Thailand, I pretty much had no shame. One of my Thai friends took me to community aerobics classes in the open car park at the community centre. To this day, I have no idea what the music was about, or anything the instructor was saying, or even what the older, incredibly fit Thai ladies thought of me. But it was a lot of fun. Lesson 3. In the words of the great Weird Al Yankovic, everything you know is wrong. I was 27 when I started travelling, so I thought I had a pretty good handle on how the world worked. It wasn't until I was immersed into a completely different culture that I realised how narrow my worldview was. This certainly wasn't helped by the fact that Thai is a tonal language, something my English-speaking brain still struggles to comprehend. So the meaning of a word changes depending on the tone that is used. Ma means dog. Ma means horse. Ma means come. Now, don't quote me on that because I never did get my tones right, which pretty much means I was misunderstood all the time. At one stage, I was giving medicine to a local street dog that lived in our area. Every morning, I would go down to the security guard and ask him, Kun hen lai mai? Which translates as, have you seen Lai? Lai being the name of the dog. And every morning, he would stare at me completely blankly, not understanding anything I was saying. I remember stomping back into our apartment. I've asked after this dog for like 2 weeks. Surely he could just fake it even if I'm not saying it correctly. My language ability, or lack thereof, became an important part of daily life and trying to get by. Learning enough Thai to direct a taxi. Leo sai, Leo kwa, jot tini. Learning enough Thai to bargain in a market. Sam roi ka, mai dai ka, pang mak mak. You quickly learn how to say that everything is too expensive on the first price they give you. Learning the etiquette of Buddhist blessings and trying not to fidget too much when you're sitting on the floor. I never did understand blessings because monks are highly respected and a more formal version of the language is used. And let's be honest, I'd never really mastered the informal version. So that was my world. If I knew then what I know now, would I have done it? Would I do it all again? The answer is yes. I believe that language is important for understanding a culture and for making life easier. As a result, there's a lot about Thai culture that I don't understand. However, I do not believe it is a prerequisite for having an amazing experience. Although it's been a long time since I've lived in Thailand, the experiences I had over those 8 years have changed me permanently. I still have a lot of amazing Thai friends, one of whom helped me write the start of this speech. The bad pronunciation is completely my own. And Thailand will always be close to my heart. I still react when I hear the national anthem or hear someone speaking Thai, and I look forward to when I can go back to visit. So yes, I would do it all again, and I recommend that anybody travels and immerses themselves in another culture. As long as you can bolster your patience, make friends with your embarrassment, and accept that there's very little you actually know about the world. As long as you do that, you are bound to have an amazing time. After all, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be able to leave you with this. Once upon a time, a Buddhist, a Christian, a Muslim, and an agnostic sat around a table in Thailand. And you want to know what happened? They laughed, they ate, they shared stories, and had an amazing time. Welcome to my world.